Hello, folks. We're back again.
Oh,
I've got Owen here from Organic Cardboard, and we're going to review Last Light for you today.
woo! Last light.
Last Light came in, I guess I got it about 2 weeks ago.
Mm-hmm.
There's been a lot of stuff going on the past couple of weeks, but I've managed to get a few games of it in. And in fact, we just played one, a fairly exciting one for me.
You've had quite a few games of this in already, right?
Yeah, I've gotten to
Yeah.
play it at several player counts. I can't say that I played every player count correctly. I think I pretty much did. I had the timing backwards, but we'll get into that maybe in a little bit. The way this game plays is it's supposed to be 4x in under an hour, and I mean that's kind of the goal with that.
Yeah.
And I think it comes really really close, but if you don't know what 4x is, exterminate, expand,
Explore,
exploit.
exploit. Yes.
Okay.
And you do hit all four of those in this. All those elements are in the game.
And so basically the principle of this game is it is a conflict game where you're going to try to take over. You're trying to get to the center of the board to collect as much light as possible. The light's dying out, and somehow we're able to acquire it and keep it.
Yeah.
I don't really get that.
Yeah, the theme's a little odd, but yeah, it basically comes out to an area control game, though.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
It seems to be like the main mechanic of the game is an area control game.
Yeah, and the more close to the center you get, the more points you get, which is light in this game. Your whole civilization. It's pretty symmetrical as far as your resources go. You're in the beginning, but you will have a special commander or like I guess a species really.
Yeah.
That kind of changes it up a little bit, and then it gets further. It further diverges from asymmetrical the more technology cards you get because you're able to augment what your ships can do, what your civilization can do, and so on.
Yeah, so basically on each of your turns, you're going to have a hand of action cards that you do. So everybody's got the same action cards that come in play. And I guess there's 6 of them total. And then at some point, you're going to play one that's going to refresh your hand, but each turn everybody's going to simultaneously pick one of these cards to play down, and then there'll be all the basic things that you can do, whether you're going to be moving units around or you're going to be constructing new units, and also little extractors to do that exploitation that we're talking about, and the mining that you're going to do subsequently to gain from where those extractors are at. Research to do all your upgrades on each of your ships. You're going to have 3 different kinds of ships that you can potentially build going up in strength level. They're not really set up in a way where it's like that different on like speed and stuff like that, but basically you just get like tougher ones as you go up higher, costing higher amounts of resources. But yeah, at the end of whatever you're doing, at some point you're going to have to play a refresh card down, which is going to reset your whole hand back. Your refresh card will stay on the board until the next person plays theirs, or if you're playing in a higher level, more than 2 player count, then it's going to be until everybody's got the refresh cards left on the board. Then everybody gets theirs back at that point.
Right.
And then we're going to do a Lazy Susan thing where the board's going to shift. So we're going to have this will kind of turn around a little bit. This part will go 45 degrees. This one will go 90 degrees. Right? Yeah. I'm doing this right. Okay. I'm kind of half-assed.
It makes an L.
But yeah. So it'll shift all like where you're at. I know we're not showing the entire board right now, but it'll shift where everything's kind of lining up to. And so now you'll be like maybe closer to other planets. The exploration's going to come into play because you're going to have these little tokens that are going to be kind of in some of these sectors. And then when you go on them, you'll get to flip them over and gain some bonus. Also, each one of these planets that you runs into also has an exploration section on it, as well as the type of resource it's going to produce when you're mining from it. But you're going to be running around doing all those actions, trying to get your people out on this board, get them close to the center, because what we really found out on this last playthrough of it that we just did with Sean and his wife Holly, actually getting to play at a 3-player player count this time for me, is that you really want to control, and that's where I'm talking about this being like more of an area control game. I think you really want to get presence and control and dominate the center area of this board, because every time you do a refresh action, you're going to gain a big chunk of points based off of how many of these planets that you control that are in the center here. And that seems to be the main way. There's not the only way to win the game. There's a couple little sneaky things that can happen. You have a secret objective that will give you points based off of a certain number of planets of a certain color type that you control. There's easier ones to get. There's harder ones to get, whereas you can have 2 points for having 2 of the same color planet under your control. You get that one time, you get it real quick, it's easy. Or you have some that go all the way up to 5, where you have to control 5 of them. That's really hard, but that means you get 5 points, and you're only doing a 20-point game in this play of it.
5. Even a couple of points of light in this game are worth a lot.
They can be.
20 points is not really a lot of points. So if you try really hard, if you're looking for points everywhere the whole time, you can accumulate them pretty quick.
Yeah, and one of the things that we found on this was that, like, again, going after Sean was the only one out of our 3 that really focused quick early on going into the center and really controlling that, and then hitting those refreshes a lot. And he was getting like 4 or 5 points pretty quick, and then it just kind of cascaded fast to the point that nobody was able to catch up with him on that.
This is my player board.
Yeah, he had no upgrades.
Typically, a player board will look a little bit more like Owen's, which I'm going to carefully grab. You see everything but the mods.
Slot this out of the way.
Yeah, so you'd have upgrades and stuff like that, and there's mod upgrades. These represent the individual ships that you have, and they got little icons to remind you of like how fast they go, how many dice they throw, their defense, and their range. These cards that we throw down, these are technology cards. This little piece of wood is just something to help me organize that. These technology cards, you're able to purchase these things and add them to your ship. There are different types, like there are these things that go up on the green spots. There are mods that get to fit underneath here, and these affect the specific ships that you're laying on.
Yeah, it might give you the ability to do extra damage rolls when you do attack. Might help you defend more. It might help you to move a little more. There's a pretty good amount of variety in how your ships can get set up. You do also have these civilization upgrades that you can get to that'll give you some pretty big extra bonuses as well. Like this one, you can exhaust this card. What's that say? Exhaust this card to make a single move with any one of your ships, which is pretty powerful because, that's pretty powerful because you normally are only going to have one card that you're going to play in any round between refreshing that will allow you to move your ships around, so you get pretty limited. Combat's a little funky on this game too because when you do a command action that is going to allow you to move your ships around, only the person that does that is going to get the attack off. So the other person doesn't get to roll attack back towards you. All they're doing is defending, and
unless they also play command.
Unless they also play command at the same time, yes.
So that can be a little tight. So it is a cool tactic is just to kind of watch your opponent. They'll be focused on maybe trying to get some resources. You look at, are they broke?
Yeah.
Are they broke? Are they about to hit mine and stuff like that? So while they're doing something else, you hit them with an attack, and then maybe try to get yourself in a good position to hit refresh and grab the light.
And there's only 6 of those cards, so it's easy to card count. And you can keep you pretty much can know if you're paying attention what the other person's got in their hand. Even at a 3-player, though, you start to kind of lose track of that a little bit. And if you're trying to play a super competitive game, you definitely, especially a 2-player, you can certainly count the other person's cards and be aware of what they're going to have available to them, where you can hit them sometimes and they're not going to be able to hit you back in the same round, things like that.
So what are some things we like about it?
So for me, I think I really like being able to explore. There's a lot of little tokens and things that you can grab, little extra bonuses that you can get really quickly. I really like that a lot. And I like being able to get your presence of ships on the board with that upgrade thing that kind of It's always super attractive in a lot of these 4X games. Like, I always use Eclipse as a example. It's like kind of my ultimate space 4X game for me. But that's all about upgrading and having these super personalized ships, and you get some decent amount of personalization in this, but it is a quick game, so it's not meant to go that long route.
Yeah, it's definitely. I like the simultaneous play the best. It does. It's funny. I got two space games in a row. Both have a lazy Susan.
Yes, yeah.
Both are played simultaneously.
Yeah.
And considered to be like 1 hour long games that are fairly complex.
What's the name of the other one? It's
Planet Unknown.
Planet Unknown. Yeah. I get Planet Unknown and Search for Planet X confused for some reason in my head.
But this is the simultaneous play on this is what kind of pushes it forward as far as like making it a really fast game and that and your limited decision space.
Yeah, I like that a lot. Yeah, definitely.
You gotta be a lot more creative with the 6 cards and the order that you play them. There's a lot more strategy in it too than you think.
Oh yeah, it certainly is. It's kind of similar, sort of, to how they did with Deep Shelf. With Deep Shelf, you at least cycled your actions a little quicker. You get to get them back. But yeah, I like that a lot. I like to be restricted in what I can do in the game and having to really plan out when you're going to take those specific actions in a round. I'm going to consider in a round as sort of like in between your refresh steps. You can kind of think of that sort of like a round in this game. There's not any like true rounds in this game.
Right. When everybody hits refresh, it kind of the first player token moves and it kind of resets the round.
Yeah.
But I mean, you could have done your refresh 3 or 4 hands ago.
Yep.
And then all you're picking up is your refresh card. So it kind of works out like that. But yeah, I like that quite a bit. And I do have to mention too, the production of the game is excellent as well. You've got individual ships for all the player colors. They're not really species dependent or anything like that, but they are different.
They're
different sculpts.
Very different. There's very different shapes and sizes and everything like that. So that feels cool. It feels like you do have your own personal armada that you have out in space there. So that's fun. And the planets themselves are really pretty. Now you have the deluxe components for this game. So some of this stuff would be tokens. Actually, a lot of it would be. Even the base one, you don't even have
the ships. These meteors would all be tokens.
Yeah, as well as like things like your light tokens and the damage counters, and they have
these resources here. Yeah, would all be tokens as well, versus damage and light.
And some of the cooler resources then are your actual resources, which you're using to build things with. So I don't know how well this comes up in the camera, but you have 3 different colors of these like kind of cartridge capsule things that are holding some kind of space fluid or something. Some space juice that powers your ships.
Space juice.
Yeah, so you use that to either upgrade ships or to produce ships, or to do certain abilities will require you to discard them to use them. Again, you're gaining that from doing those exploitations in general, but also your explorations that you're doing in the game. That kind of hits some of the high points, I think.
I think that this game looks better in person than it does on camera.
Yeah, probably so.
You can't. The two-tone. What do you call this? That when they do the shiny parts in there.
Yeah, it's like kind of got like a laminate. I don't know what you call that sheen. There's like this little overlay sheen of. I like an extra shiny plastic or something that's been printed over top of these.
It's real subtle. I mean, a space game should be kind of dark and black.
Yeah.
The blackness of space, but it adds a little bit of decoration to it and makes it less boring to look at.
Yeah,
bleak.
They kind of put like a mandala thing kind of going. It's kind of, I don't know, reminiscent of some cosmic like energy that's going on in the blackness of space with gravity and dark matter stuff going on that's kind of swirling around. It is very pretty in person to look at, though, and I think the planets are really simple. I mean, they're basically just a bunch of They look like super balls. They don't bounce, I don't think.
Nice hard plastic.
Yeah, they're kind of hard plastic, but they have a nice presence on the board. They don't need to be any. I guess there is a slightly higher end. You said that you can get.
Yeah, there are resin version. Here, I'll grab a couple of them to look at real close. There are resin versions of these, and I haven't seen them in person to be tempted by them. The only thing that's tempting me right now is the fact that my insert comes with all this extra space to hold them. They also have a light up piece in the middle, so you can get your thing in the middle to stand up and light. These have colors. These colors are only for your secret objectives, as far as I can tell.
Yeah.
And so basically the color, this color down here is to mimic the color on the planet in case it's hard to tell in some cases. But they're like little swirly balls. And some of them have a lot of colors. Some of them have just two, and some just have one.
Oh, really? I don't think I've seen any that had just one yet.
Yeah, there's some. I don't tend to put them out. We got one single. Well, that's green and red, so even that one.
Yeah, but they're pretty clear to see, though, even at a distance. You know, I never found myself having to look at the little color code on the bottom.
I worried about that when before we had it in front of us and stuff.
Yeah, and I don't know. I mean, there's some very slight art differences on it. If you're colorblind, it could probably maybe be a little difficult on greens and blues for people that have issues with those.
Yeah, those kind of primary colors, which is...
Yeah, they could always ask somebody that they're playing with. That's not colorblind.
What color is that? Oh,
Yeah.
it's purple.
Yeah. But yeah, they look nice. They're just swirling kind of atmospheric effects. I think that it all has a nice presence on the board. All the little miniature pieces that you use. I don't think I would want to play this game personally without the deluxe components. I mean, I'd play it. But it definitely adds quite a bit to the feel of the experience, I think.
These trays were also extra as part of the campaign. These are called Y trays. They're made by it's a Game Trays product. I've actually bought their little small trays before, and I keep these around for extra resources and stuff. But these are, although you pay extra for them, they fit perfectly in the box. So, and a set of these is 6. So you get 6 different ones, and 2 of them are the long kind. Well, no, 4 of them are this longer kind, which will fit all your stuff. All your individual player stuff, and then 2 of them are like the resource types with like three divided areas.
And these weren't made specifically for this game. These are just
no, you can buy wide trays and just have them. I mean, this would be really handy just in itself.
Well, that probably made them a little cheaper too, if they were able to get away with ones that they were already kind of mass producing like that. So that's.
They just kind of made little pathways for it. So I guess if it's important to you to not have them in baggies or put them this way, then you could do that. Or if you 3D print stuff, then who cares?
Even the dice are. There we go. Yeah, even the dice are really nice because they're kind of just all black and white. You're gonna have hits.
Very on theme.
Technology, and then you have ones that kind of do a hit in technology, and then you have these extra little burst ones that let you kind of re-roll after doing a hit. But those are nice though. They just look pretty, and they go definitely in theme with like the rest of the color of the board here as well. And that's fun. You hit those technology symbols, and they let you activate other ship abilities. And then you really though have to focus on getting into conflict in this game because again, very very much area control more than anything. So
yeah, and it's worth it to seek it out. I feel like with this game, you've got to explore. It's handy to get out there first, but you don't want to get so far ahead of yourself that you can't keep it.
Yeah.
Yeah, so you got to strike a balance between going and getting stuff and keeping stuff. If you got one of those short goals, like some of these goals are just getting like 2 things. Like here's one. Here's one that you can get with just 3 of the planets. So as soon as you get on 3 of these, you can take the light and then you can move on with your day.
Yeah.
We both had 5. Was it 5 green planets? That's a lot. I mean,
Sean almost got the 5-2 because he was dominating the game so much he was about to super dominate it. But yeah, those and and the game. I guess one other thing to say that's really nice about it is it does reward you getting into that conflict in a way that like isn't really unless two people play their command actions at the same time. You can kind of get free hits on somebody just by moving into their space. You can have weaker ships that just roll really well, or they can roll really poorly on big ships, and do some really set the other person back quite a bit.
Well, three small ships with no modifications can take out the biggest ship.
Yeah, and then you get big bonuses too for like just having numbers of ships. If you have 4, you have a graveyard card here that you'll store their ships on as soon as you have 4 or more of them. Yep. They get them back to produce again. They don't get them back on the board, but you immediately gain a couple points too for that. So it really rewards conflict, I think. And,
you can buy them out of the graveyard too. Like if you don't have them in your resources, you can buy them out. They have to give their money to somebody else, to the person that has them.
Exactly. You have to pay the person that's already destroyed you, giving them even bigger boosts. So you really don't want to do that, but you don't want them gaining points either. So it's like there's a lot of little like things that are pulling at you in different directions in the game. But
any criticisms? Anything you wish would be more?
I mean, this is a quick game. It's supposed to be a quick game. You're supposed to finish it in an hour and a half. Is that what it was?
It's supposedly, it says 4x in an hour or something, or under an hour.
You can definitely do it in under an hour if you're playing. I think in the style that the game kind of wants you to play in, and I guess that's a bit of a knock for it, is that you are kind of pushed towards a lane of play in the game. You can't just explore and get technology and expect to win. Like you have to get into that conflict, and you have to push hard into the center at some point. Preferably early in the game, because it compounds if you keep holding those center spaces. If the other person isn't wasting their ships, like doing piddly combats and putting themselves in bad positions, then they can certainly come back even against a big group of your ships and do some serious damage to them and wipe them out if they plan it out right. But it does mean though that you can't just, it's one of those games that you can't just kind of, I don't feel like there's a lot of avenues. There's a lot of ways that you can gain extra points here and there. And you get like your technologies, you get a little buff for having a bunch of technologies on the board as well. In fact, that's like the tiebreaker on the game, is if you
whoever has the most technology
at the end. So yeah, I feel like it doesn't allow you to just play around how you want to potentially in the game. It does push you.
You can't linger. You can't linger and
you can't turtle around. I mean, you can kind of turtle a little bit if you want to turtle up and get a big force and then move them in. But if you let somebody get into the center quick and you're not kind of like chasing after them too, then they're going to keep racking up points on you.
I think I lost my first couple of games of this because of that.
Yeah.
Because I'll wait too long to get into conflict, or I'll venture out too far, and then all my little ships get blown up. They get some light for it, and then I just have to build them again.
Yeah, which can really set you back because it gets kind of expensive to produce. Now you might get good upgrades early. You might have these pretty tanky. That's kind of tends to be the thing I like to do in a lot of these games, is have really like strong, easy to produce ships. Like they make the small ones really strong, and get out there with those. But yeah, you can't just mess around with it too much though. You have to go in there and hit them, which is fun. And you just have to know that going. Like Sean showed us how to play tonight. He showed us how to play it right. And he was like, "Oh, you guys are just messing around. You ain't getting the points in the middle. It's called last light. That's the whole point, is to get that last light in the middle." But yeah, it's overall, I mean, there's not too many other knocks than that though that I have for it.
I think it's a little expensive.
Yes,
I think it's a little expensive, even with the deluxe components and stuff. These deluxe components, like the ships, look to be stuff I remember from the 80s. And I mean, they're not bad looking. Like I know that they're not meant to be painted and stuff like that. Like, I deal with miniatures a lot. Miniatures are a thing of mine. I think these are fine. I think these are really good, but I wouldn't. Man, I don't want to play with cardboard, but these they're not so special that I think that it bumps the price up a lot. In fact, I think for the deluxe price you should have these trays in there too. And I love the resources more than the ships, like these plastic resources. Yeah.
See, I actually like the ships quite a bit.
So my favorite resources in the game are these things, and I think you get that even with the basic game. It might be something that, depending on your player group, maybe you want to try it, and then sell it and get the deluxe copy.
Perhaps, yeah. And a lot of people don't care. So, like, a lot of people are just more into like the strict. Like, I like a balance of between the strict game mechanics of the enjoyment of the game and also having
some aesthetic
some
pleasure,
stuff that feels like just kind of sucks you in for the immersion. But I mean, like, even looking at these ships right here, like, these are very different looking. These are kind of your dreadnoughts or whatever that you'd have between some of these guys. The different colors. They're not species specific, but they kind of look like they could be. But those are quite a bit different, and each one of the different levels of them, like his ships are quite, like, these are your small ones, and these are the small ones from the other colors here. So, like, his are like these big destroyer, like he kind of had the thematic style for the way that he played here, but then you got these little, like, kind of fighter looking ships in yellow, and then you got these weird little, like, kind of organic shaped. It's kind of hard to see, but
like Tyranids almost.
Organic shaped kind of other alien species.
Bug ships.
Yeah, and I mean, some of these aliens, like, I don't know. I mean, it seems like they all have something that's useful for you. But some of them, it's like I had one that made it easier to kind of cycle through technology cards and get, like, maybe good technology early. And maybe on some more plays, I could kind of know the technology I'm fishing for a little bit more instead of just trying to, like, grab the first thing I see that I can build. But it doesn't really feel like it steers you in a particularly different direction in the game. It seems like, for the most part in the game, again, I keep coming back to that. It's kind of a knock on it, is that it feels like it's sort of one directional in how you play it, I think. But a lot of little avenues, again, to kind of tweak that. So, I mean, they do have that.
I've seen people win with a technology focus and stuff. You weren't getting the cards for it.
Perhaps not.
There's a bunch of civilization cards that people can get that will just blow the game out really fast. Like, there's some, like, every time you refresh, you get a light. It's like kind of a cumulative thing. So if you lean into a couple of different little pathways that you get, my whole strategy this time, like, I never played even one technology card.
No.
I used all of those resources to build ships, and then I just plowed them up through the middle.
I think there should be an achievement marker for that, playing them technologies and win a game. Shit. I just got done playing Unbroken a bunch, and they have, like, a ton of those, like, little achievements to do at the end. Do everything, but not do this.
That's true. It could be like one of those. But it's interesting. I don't think it would work every time necessarily, but.
No, and I say that one track thing, but yeah, I mean, there are certainly those other avenues to add the extra points, but you cannot forget about that main goal of the game, I think.
This was a crowdfunding game, and they typically get a little bit like, that's why I was saying with the ships and stuff, like, they typically make a little bit more money than I think a retail game, or at least they've got assured money because it's sort of a pre-sale. I know you're not supposed to call it a pre-sale. It's a pre-sale.
Yeah.
And especially with a reprint. So now with a reprint, it added an expansion. I didn't buy it. I probably would get it now.
Maybe now you have to hunt it down.
Now I got to go hunt it down.
FOMO it is. Yeah.
But
there's quite a bit to play in this, though, even without having the expansion. I don't feel like I need much more than this right now.
Not right now, where the games are kind of raining down like rain. I mean, we got games coming out. All those people that didn't make it to by Chinese New Year, or Lunar New Year, but all the ones that came after that, are now coming in. Like you've got a bunch of stuff in too.
Yeah, I got stuff coming too. So yeah.
It's been a wild ride. So my criticisms of this are pretty minor. It's just like maybe the quality of these plastic ships. I'd love to see it like touched up just a little. It's not that it's bad. It just needs a little kick.
Yeah.
Needs a little something extra. I might even 3D print something and paint them up. If I can't paint, if I don't feel like I want to paint it, then it's good.
Yeah. Sean's a miniatures guy.
I kind of like the meteors, although they're kind of silly too. I think
they're like these hollow plastic things that look like big space turds.
they make a funny sound when they click together.
Yeah. And those are just there just to block off areas for player counts.
I think the graphic design and stuff, all this is pretty consistent and easy to read and stuff. I don't have a lot of digs on that. Oh, it's really simplistic, but that's good. That's good, I think, for this.
Yeah.
You could get lost. You can get a little bit lost if you go for a strategy with a whole lot of different technology cards. You can forget to play them.
Yes.
Yeah, you forget. Oh gosh, my ship does this thing when I roll that thing. You know, so you got to remember those when you're playing it too. I have a couple of games where I was like, oh no, like 2 hands back. I was like, oh, I attacked. I could have done this thing.
Oh, it's definitely easy to forget about stuff like that when you get a bunch of upgrades.
That's why I don't upgrade a lot.
Yeah, well,
less to remember.
I'm going to play differently next time I play.
So, do you have anything else to add?
Not really on Nox. I mean, overall, I do really enjoy it quite a bit. I think it's really fun. A fairly short experience if played correctly. It should.
Where is it 1 to 10 on your Owen meter?
On the Owen meter, I don't know. I mean, it's at least at this moment, and it could go higher on more plays of it. I feel like I haven't won in the first 2, so I feel like just now I'm like I kind of see the direction in the game. But at the moment, I think I'd put it at an 8. It could go up to like an 8.5. I don't think it'd go higher than that.
Yeah,
probably for me. But I'd put it at an 8 out of 10, just where it's hitting, meaning that I'll be super happy to get out and play it again at any time, and especially, again, knowing that there's a way the game should be played. It's kind of like The Witcher. We were talking about that with The Witcher. Like, you can play The Witcher and you can just wander off, beefing yourself up for hours before you finally just kill those last few monsters. But that game's meant to be more of a race, and you need to know when you jump into that, and that game should be a lot quicker than it's normally played for a lot of people. And I think knowing that, and knowing that this isn't going to be a huge time requirement, this will be an excellent game to have out with like a group of a bunch of games that you're going to be playing 3 or 4 games in a night. This could very easily fit into that space without burning people out. In fact, they'll probably want to play it again. They'll probably be like, damn it, now I know it. Like, I want to get back in there and spend another hour and see if I can do
especially
a
the
little
second
better.
game. I was ready to just play it right again.
Yeah, it's kind of where I feel like, like I can play this again right now. Kick your ass next time, Sean. No, I won't probably, but I'll try better. Maybe I'll do a little better with it.
Well, the fact that it plays so quickly, even if it takes an hour and 10 minutes or an hour and 20 minutes.
Yeah, or an hour and a half is fine.
Yeah, we play games
even 2 hours is fine for this game. Yeah,
we played games for like 4 or 5 hours.
I think the first game that we played of it was probably closer to 2 hours that we were playing.
Probably, yeah. If you're going to explain it and stuff, But it kind of depends. The speed of it is more dependent on your player group and how they play. If everybody wants to hang out in their sector and upgrade and stuff, then it'll take a while. If somebody runs to the middle and grabs the points and no one goes to challenge them, then it'll be over pretty fast.
See, I'm a sucker for these early game objectives. I do that on like Wingspan and stuff like that, and a lot of other games that have that stuff. And it'll suck you away from points sometimes because you get too focused on like, oh, if I just spread myself thin real quick and get to all these planets, throw an extractor down on them, and take 5 rounds to do that, it's not likely to happen. It would have been a lot better of a strategy to just beef myself up and then try to go for that. So yeah, there's little things that can catch you with that. But yeah, art's really well done. There's a ton of different, very unique kind of aliens that you get in it. A lot of really good points in the game, though. There's not a huge amount of knocks for it. And even again, talking about that one main knock that I have for the game is not really that bad of a thing if you just know that's where you need to go, and that's how you're gonna. That's just the game that it's gonna be. And then you have these extra little, like, I guess what would that be like? I don't know. Exterminate would almost be like the main. It's not really like a main goal though, because it's really area control. That's where it comes out, and I don't know.
Maybe somewhere between the expand and the exterminate together.
Yeah.
Which is funny because it's the command card is the move and attack.
Yeah, right. Yeah, so it's kind of the same.
You got 2 X's and 1 card.
Yeah, and then maybe the Explorer and the...
and the 3 X's and 1 card.
Yeah, right. Yeah, I guess that's true. Yeah, you do get kind of 3 X's off just the 1 card. Exploit seems to be a little... It's important, but, you know, it's like you'll get that along the way if you don't focus on that as your main goal.
This game, as a crowdfunding project, had a pretty good advantage and that the guy that made it worked for the Dice Tower.
Well, yeah, that always helps.
What was his name? Roy Cannaday.
Yeah, I was surprised. I didn't realize that he was making games, so that's awesome.
And I think he's left the Dice Tower now, and he's focused on this and Gray Fox games and stuff. And we wish you well, Roy. I don't really watch the Dice Tower that much. I have a little.
I do. Yeah.
Well, you have to. Because they're everywhere, and they're the granddaddies.
Yeah.
But I don't recall seeing a whole lot of him. Mm-hmm. But boy, if I was going to make a game, I can't think of a job I'd rather have than working at the Dice Tower.
That's true. You got a little boon.
What a nice advantage that was.
A little upgrade.
And I was all prepared to kind of hate this game.
Yeah.
In fact, I didn't back it the first time around. I was like, oh man, it looks kind of boring, and I didn't like the look of the game state. And then I kind of looked at it a little bit more and kind of watched some gameplay of it. So when it came up again, I decided to get it, and ultimately I'm glad I did.
Yeah.
I'm
glad I got it too.
My rating, if I'm going to give it a rating, I should. When I'm winning, it's a 9.
Yeah.
When I'm losing, I'd say 7.
Yeah. Yeah. Right.
I like it. I've played it a whole lot now, and I'd like to quit while I'm ahead. No, I'm just kidding.
Right. Done. Pack it up. We won't play it for.
Go ahead and buy your own copy, Owen. Yeah. I'm not breaking this out again.
Yeah.
I'm 2-0, and I'm keeping that score as long as I can.
There is no solo in this game either, right?
No, there isn't. Mm-hmm. If you play 2-player, it's got a mechanism where you throw ships in the middle, and whoever's behind those ships can become part of your force to attack with. It works okay.
I think I like that a lot. I think that helps to control, because otherwise you normally always have other people helping control the leader.
It's one of the better versions of that like extra player that I've seen. Mm-hmm. I like that when you're behind, it really adds a whole nother dimension to how you get your points and when.
Yeah, because you have to be a little afraid to jump ahead too quick, because then you just get smoked.
Then you get, especially if that third player army is built up and built up and built up. That's a whole armada coming against you as soon as you pull ahead.
So it still creates a very competitive experience at 2, and then like a lot of these games, I mean, it's certainly competitive at any player count, but like I feel like it's just a normal thing in a lot of these games that you can't have like strict that strict competitive element when you start throwing a lot of variables in it with extra players. You got the 2-player thing, but I think it works really well as 2 players still. There's
more and more conflict the more players you add. A 3-player is a little bit more fun, I think, than the 2-player version, but 2-player was still a lot of fun too.
I'd be completely happy to play it at 2.
4 players is pretty neat too, but it changes that dynamic where you can get blown away, and somebody's going to get blown away.
Yeah.
So you wander in there with like one little ship, like I was doing earlier. Then it won't last long.
Right.
In the middle.
That's right.
So but you can't wait too long to go to send your forces in there.
Yeah.
So much advice. Now you're ready to go dominate.
Yep.
Last light.
Get the light.
I think this is that time in the thumbnail.
Last light. We got the light. Last light.
This is that time where we pose for our thumbnail. And wish you a good day. Thank you so much for tuning in today. If you'd like to subscribe to Owen and I, would sure appreciate it. We'd love to see your faces. And we'd like to show you more videos like this. We got a whole bunch of reviews. Look over there. Ooh. So until next time, enjoy your games. We'll see you soon. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
What we like, what we don't like, and what's bollocks.